Break what must be broken once for all, that's all, and take the suffering on oneself. I am alone, I thought, and they are everybody. The greatest happiness is to know the source of unhappiness. But how could you live and have no story to tell? Power is given only to those who dare to lower themselves and pick it up. Only one thing matters, one thing, to be able to dare. And what if there are only spiders there or something of that sort? Beauty is mysterious as well as terrible. God and devil are fighting there, and the battlefield is the heart of man. The cleverest of all, in my opinion, is the man who calls himself a fool at least once a month. Deprived of meaningful work, men and women lose their reason for existence. They go stark, raving mad. Often a man endures for several years, submits and suffers the cruelest punishments, and then suddenly breaks out over some minute trifle, almost nothing at all. Instead of giving a firm foundation for setting the conscience of man at rest forever, thou didst choose all that is exceptional, vague and enigmatic. Much unhappiness has come into the world because of bewilderment and things left unsaid. The man who has a conscience suffers whilst acknowledging his sin. That is his punishment. Nothing is easier than to denounce the evildoer. Nothing is more difficult than to understand him. The Russian soul is a dark place. Fyodor Dostoyevsky. Wer sich selbst bellt und seine eigenen Lügen ernährt, kommt schließlich so weit, dass keine Wahrheit mehr welche in sich nach sich zu erkennen vermag. Wer sich selbst bellt und seine eigenen Lügen ernährt, kommt schließlich so weit, dass keine Wahrheit mehr welche in sich nach sich zu erkennen vermag. If you want to be respected by others, the great thing is to respect yourself. Only by that, only by self-respect will you compel others to respect you. The only gain of civilization for mankind is the greater capacity for variety of sensations and absolutely nothing more. Since man cannot live without miracles, he will provide himself with miracles of his own making. He will believe in witchcraft and sorcery, even though he may otherwise be a heretic, an atheist, and a rebel. We sometimes encounter people, even perfect strangers, who begin to interest us at first sight, somehow suddenly, all at once, before a word has been spoken. In wine is truth, and the truth had all come out, that is all the uncleanness of his coarse and envious heart. Originality and a feeling of one's own dignity are achieved only through work and struggle. People speak sometimes about the bestial cruelty of man, but that is terribly unjust and offensive to beasts. No animal could ever be so cruel as a man, so artfully, so artistically cruel. How can you tell a man there's nothing to do? I can't imagine a situation in which there could ever be nothing to do. Do it for mankind and don't worry about the rest. There's so much to do that a lifetime won't be enough if you look around attentively. To love someone means to see him as God intended him. Quanto mais gosto de humanidade geral menos aprecio as pessoas em particular como individuals. Man is a creature that can get used to anything, and I think that is the best definition of him. In the end they will lay their freedom at our feet and say to us, make us your slaves, but feed us. It seems, in fact, as though the second half of a man's life is made up of nothing but the habits he has accumulated during the first half. You see, I kept asking myself then, why am I so stupid that if others are stupid and I know they are, yet I won't be wiser? Power is given only to him who dares to stoop and take it. One must have the courage to dare. Loving someone is different from being in love with someone. You can hate someone you're in love with. There is no explaining anything by reasoning, and so it is useless to reason. Killing myself was a matter of such indifference to me that I felt like waiting for a moment when it would make some difference. Woe to the man who offends a small child. Love the animals. God has given them the rudiments of thought and joy untroubled. Don't trouble it, don't harass them of their happiness, don't work against God's intent. Was it all put into words, or did both understand that they had the same thing at heart and in their minds, so that there was no need to speak of it aloud and better not to speak of it? There are things which a man is afraid to tell even to himself, and every decent man has a number of such things stored away in his mind. What does reason know? Reason only knows what it has succeeded in learning. The soul is healed by being with children. In any case, civilization has made mankind, if not more bloodthirsty, at least more vilely, more loathsomely bloodthirsty. Man is fond of counting his troubles, but he does not count his joys. If he counted them up as he ought to, he would see that every lot has enough happiness provided for it. There is no subject so old that something new cannot be said about it. Drive nature out of the door and it will fly in at the window. Man is fond of counting his troubles, but he does not count his joys. If he counted them up as he ought to, he would see that every lot has enough happiness provided for it. It's precisely in despair that you find the most intense pleasure, especially if you are already powerfully conscious of the hopelessness of your predicament. In Russia, drunks are our kindest people. Our kindest people are also the most drunk. You will have many enemies, but even your foes will love you. Life will bring you many misfortunes, but you will find your happiness in them and will bless life and will make others bless it, which is what matters most. The more stupid one is, the closer one is to reality. The more stupid one is, the clearer one is. Stupidity is brief and artless, while intelligence squirms and hides itself. Intelligence is unprincipled, but stupidity is honest and straightforward. How good life is when one does something good and just. Fyodor Dostoyevsky.